book of Zechariah, God spoke to him. He was displeased with his father, Barachiah, his grandfather, Edo, both former prophets who turned from God, apparently. Anyway, this book was interesting because after seeing like these visions and this weird imagery, an angel explained them to him. Like, for example, he saw a vision of a man sitting on a red horse among the myrtle trees, and behind this guy was red horses speckled and white. Let's see what the explanation was. These are they whom the Lord hath sent to walk to and fro through the earth. And they answered the angel of the Lord that stood among the myrtle trees, and said, We have walked to and fro the earth, and behold, all the earth sitteth still, and is at rest. Then there's one, it spoke of 4 carpenters. And then said I, What come these to do? And he spake, saying, These are the horns which have scattered Judah, so that no man did lift up his head. But these are come to fray them, to cast out the horns of the Gentiles, which lifted up their horn over the land of Judah to scatter it. There's more to a gold candlestick, 4 chariots that came out from between 2 mountains. But this was the weirdest one. Chapter 5. Let me read this one. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes, and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. And he goes on to describe it's like 20 cubits by 10 cubits. So that's interesting. It goes on to try to explain too. This is an epha, E-P-H-A-A, that goeth forth. He said, moreover, this is their resemblance through all the earth. And then it goes on to describe its wickedness, and there's 2 women that come out of it. Then I lifted up mine eyes, and looked, and behold, there came out 2 women, and the wind was in their wings, for they had wings like the wings of a stork, and they lifted up the epha between the earth and the heaven. It does sound like some kind of UFO or something. That doesn't mean aliens. It just means, a flying device. Again, we see the black arrows, like 3:8 speaks of the branch of David. These are Jesus references, supposedly. Let me read 9 and 10. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king cometh unto thee. He is just and having salvation, lowly, and riding upon an ass, and upon a colt the foal of an ass. And I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim, and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall speak peace unto the heathen. And his dominion shall be from sea even to sea, and from river even to the ends of the earth. You see, that's one of those lines that, if it truly was written, when supposedly it was written, like 400 years or whatever, or maybe even more than that, before Jesus even came, to even suggest that Jesus' word could reach the whole entire world was interesting. Because back then, there was no such, it was impossible. I mean, like whatever they wrote his Bible, you couldn't go around the whole world. I mean, at least man couldn't. But that's part of the rub of the Bible. Like, was it truly written, hundreds of years, centuries before, Jesus, and, way before we had a way to get around like that, Like that must be like in the 20s and 30s, people talking about going to the moon. It sounded so ridiculous. Like, imagine thousands of years ago, being able to traverse the world might have sounded just as crazy, 12:10 is a good reference to Jesus here. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and his supplications. And they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. And they shall mourn for him, as one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him, as one that in bitterness is for his firstborn. So that's clearly, and look at 9 says, And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. I thought I had a, we've seen some future, prophecies here, but I thought I had to wait for the revelation for some good stuff. But chapter 14 of that book, read it. It's really good, of this book. But look at this line. This is 14:12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. It's like speaking of, I've heard other shows reference this, on TV. How could that be possible? But imagine if a nuclear bomb goes off, or something like that, the explosion is so powerful that even before you even hit the ground, it's like you melt away. I guess especially if you're fairly close. So it describes a power like that power, something that powerful. Yeah, the book of Malachi, the last book of the Old Testament. He was another prophet. He pointed out what God told him. People did not do their best for God. Let me read this part. But this is 14:1. But cursed be the deceiver, which hath in his flock a male, and voweth and sacrificeth unto the Lord a corrupt thing. For I am a great king, saith the Lord of hosts, and my name is dreadful among the heathen. Well, you got to admit that, I don't know if it's dreadful, but maybe more hated among the heathen than dreadful. Priests did not act right. Men dumped their wives like for no reason. Maybe when they got older they got sick of them or something. I don't know. Let me read this. 3. Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way for me. And the Lord whom you seek shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant whom ye delight in. Behold, he shall come, saith the Lord of hosts. And pretty much in closing it goes on to say, like, things are going to be really bad for the non-believer, the wicked, but it's going to be really great for the righteous. So anyway, that's the Old Testament. Thanks for sticking with me through this. I'll make my the overview, I guess, later. Maybe I'll try to get it up by tonight. Anyway, thanks again.